Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 13, Chapter 23, The Sai Religion, Part 1 of 2. Whom the Muslims adore as Allah, the Christians as Jehovah, the Vaishnavas as Vishnu, and the Shaivites as Shiva, who grants in answer to their several prayers health, prosperity, and happiness to all, wherever they may be. It is He, the one God, the God of all mankind. India has been teaching since ages the message of the Spirit and the means to gain and ensure equanimity and joy. She has stood forth as the preceptor of the world for centuries. The prayer that she has taught her people is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all people everywhere be happy. This is the consummation of Vedic thought since time immemorial. Such wholesome ideals were propagated and fostered by the rulers of this land, and the seers and yogis, God-centered persons who guided the populace, as well as the chaste mothers who reared generations in the atmosphere of spiritual effort. But due to the vicissitudes in the country's history, when the people were subjected to pressures and counter-pressures, these ideals suffered a setback. The abstractions of faith received concrete form and got crystallized into specific, identifiable names and forms. Each new attitude or aptitude, each new concretization became a special sect, and every theory enveloped itself in its own shell. Growth of new sects and sets of belief in India. Thus the one Vedic religion became the parent of a number of sects and sets of belief like Ganapatya, centering around the concept of Ganapati, Shaktiyas, centering around the concept of cosmic energy as the expression of the divine, Saurya, centering around the sun as the source, sustenance, and goal of spiritual achievement, Charvaka, centering around the concept of pleasure and material prosperity, and Veerashaivas, centering around Shiva as the inner motivator of all beings. Every one of these sects, and many more besides, elaborated their own rituals and modes of worship, their own priorities in spiritual attainment, and their own body of doctrines about the individual, the objective world, and God. The purpose of these codes and modes was, in all cases, to purify the mind and insist on the practice of high moral virtues. But this was soon ignored, and importance came to be attached to superficial conformity and outer purity. The craving for personal aggrandizement and power made every sect, faith and religion rigid and dry. There is a great need today to discover the inner spring of all faiths, the spring that fertilizes the outer rites and ceremonies. A little quiet study will reveal that there is an undercurrent of moral enthusiasm and spiritual adventure. There is only one caste, the caste of humanity. The word generally used for religion is Mata. The word to indicate the mind is Mati. Putting the two words together, it can be said that Mata is primarily engaged or ought to be engaged in straightening and strengthening the Mati. The goal, the purpose, the key, the essence of all creeds, faiths, and religions is just this: the sublimation of the mind of man to guarantee liberation for the individual concerned and happiness for the society of which he is a unit. Principles and practices have grouped around this prime need, and various creeds are the result. Religions attempt to implant holy ideals in the heart of man, but man does not allow them to sprout and grow. His egoistic craving for power and competitive success has in most cases persuaded him to use religion as an instrument of torture and persecution. Instead of uniting mankind in a common endeavor, religion has become a system of walled enclosures guarded by hate and fanaticism. And so each religion is an armed camp sunk in self-aggrandizement, trying to wean others into itself and preventing defections from itself. Religion, therefore, is being condemned as the root of chaos and conflict. In spite of great progress in many other areas of life, religious animosity is aflame even today in many parts of the world. It has to be emphasized that religion is not the root cause of this state of affairs. The factional fights and fanatic hatred are due to the unruly ego that is given free play. Religion strives to destroy just this vicious tendency, so it has to be supported, not condemned. What has to be condemned is the narrow, perverted attitude of hating those who do not agree with you or who hold different opinions of the mysterious force that animates the universe. Religious wars and conflicts breed in the slime of ignorance and avarice. When people are blind to the truth that the human family is one indivisible unit, they grope in the dark and become fearful and suspicious of others. The cultivation of love alone can convince man of this truth that there is only one caste, the caste of humanity, and only one religion, the religion of love. Since no religion upholds violence or despises love, it is wrong to ascribe the chaos to religion. The diversity we experience is not a true picture. It is also not advisable to engage in campaigns of vilification or exaggerated propagation of any religion with a view to draw votaries. If only each one lives up to the ideals propounded by the founders of one's religion, unaffected by greed or hate, the world will be a happier and more peaceful habitation for man. The religion of the Hindus stressed the unity of all creation and declared that the diversity we experience is not the true picture. But since true faith in the One can only be understood by a clarified mind, the religion had to eventually acknowledge duality and even multiplicity, with deities for every facet of the whole. The most widespread of these qualities is the Shaivite and Vaishnavite faiths. They are centered around the Shiva and Vishnu aspect of the One. This process of splitting the diverse viewpoints has taken place in all the major religions. Islam has the Shia and Sunni sects. Christianity has Catholics and Protestants. But however deep the division, no sect denies God, and no sect extols violence and falsehood. Names may be different, the facets emphasized may be different, but the Almighty Providence is denoted as absolute and eternal. The terminology may be different, but the concept is not different. God may be referred to as Allah. Prayers may be called namaz. Priests may be known as kajis. Scholars may be hailed as mullahs. The Bible may be in the form of the Holy Quran, but the undercurrent of energizing power in all cases is love. Love of all beings towards all beings. The founders had always in view the unity of all life and the progressive march of man from mere humanness to the heights of divinity. Shankaracharya's Advaita philosophy. The first among the interpreters of the Vedas, most ancient revealed scriptures, to found a school of philosophy and lay down the path of spiritual discipline to benefit from that school is Shankaracharya, born in the state of Kerala. During his very short life, he established on secure foundations of logic and intuition the truth that there is only one God and that all else is an appearance of the one reality. This is the no-two or Advaita philosophy or faith that explains the individual nature and God in perfect harmony. The Vedic axioms, Eko Ham Bahusyam, I am one, let me become many, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam, God is immanent in all, Ishavasyam Midam Sarvam, all this enveloped and penetrated by God, are thus illuminated by the intellect of Shankaracharya into patent truths. End of part 1 of 2, Prashanti Nilayam, October 1st, 1976.